The rules can be bent. The rules can be malleable so that we can achieve the things we want, because otherwise we end up falling in line in our own minds. There's one called engage with laughter, to connect amidst the weight of the world. The world can often be heavy, and literally laughing with our colleagues can go a long way to consolidating teams and inspiring us to be more effective in what we do throughout the day.
Welcome to Play by Rules, the podcast for those tired of living by somebody else's script and ready to live and lead in their lives. I'm your host, Maggie Moore, coach, speaker, and strategist. Ready to spark a little rebel energy and leave you with a sense of possibility. Each episode, I talk to leaders, adventurers, Hello and welcome to Play It by Your Rules, the podcast about a mindful rebellion that challenges you to question the old script and design a life you want today and not the life you wanted maybe 20 years ago. Today, as always, I'm super excited about my guest, but honestly, today I'm particularly excited because I was trying to get Greg on the show for months, and I'm delighted to finally have you. So Greg is a keynote speaker and author. He's many things. I'll let you introduce yourself. I know you also work with humor, so I'm expecting this to be fun. But before we dive into the substance, I'll give you the word right away to introduce yourself.
Well, I appreciate it. No pressure when somebody says, I understand you're supposed to be funny, so let's make sure this is funny. No pressure at all. But I've been speaking and presenting professionally since I was 13 years old. My name's Greg Bennick. I'm from the United States, and I'm the author of a book called Reclaim the Moment, 7 Strategies to Build a Better Now, which is about being present, regaining your focus, reminding people that they matter and that the work they do is meaningful, working together as a team more effectively, and being a better individual. So I do presentations, keynote presentations that incorporate elements of comedy or even juggling, magic, just different things to attract an audience's attention to different points that I make. So I've been having a really good time with that throughout my life, and literally I've traveled the world performing and presenting to audiences everywhere. So I'm just happy to be here and have a genuine, authentic conversation with you. This is going to be great.
That sounds amazing. And I didn't say you have to be funny. This will be funny.
Okay, good.
And now we're even talking magic and juggling. So, we're off to a good start.
Absolutely.
So Greg, to start this off, can you tell us a little bit more about your story? I always love to hear from people why they got where they got. So what
Absolutely.
brought you to this point?
So, I mean, there's a number of points that I've gotten to, if that makes sense, right? So, I just got back from a coin conference in Canada where I was speaking about rare coins. I do a lot of work with rare coins and numismatics. So there's a whole story in my life where I travel this story and end up at the point where I'm invited to conferences to speak about rare coins and numismatics, which is a totally offshoot angle we don't need to get into today. But the point is, when telling and recounting one story, we have to pick a lane, right? So the lane that I'll pick for today is the one that puts me on stages at all. And it happened totally by accident. I actually signed up for a class when I was in 6th grade on coin collecting, an after-school course on coin collecting. And there was a number of people signing up for a number of classes, all in 12 years old, 6th grade. And the school secretary accidentally signed me up for the wrong class. Everybody else got the class they wanted. I got signed up accidentally for a different class, not coin collecting, even though I ended up there eventually, but they signed me up for a juggling class by accident. And I was signed up for this juggling class and walked in, saw somebody juggling, and immediately in my head said, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And proceeded to practice all the time and do my first professional show, a presentation on how juggling and eye-hand coordination work together and make you a better human when I was 13 years old. So the point is that that put me in front of people, whereas I probably would have been far more introspective and studying coins on my own had I not taken that class. But starting with that juggling, starting with that performing, put me in front of audiences. And then I started thinking about audiences. What do they like? What do they need? What do they hope for? That got me thinking about people and what do people want? What do people need? What do people hope for in their lives? And that over time has led to me being a speaker, started very early on. And now I, perform and present for corporate and association audiences all over the world and talk about meaning, why our work is meaningful, that the people around you matter, and reminding them as such, and then focusing amidst the chaos of the world on one thing in front of you, which is essentially also a juggling metaphor. You don't get to juggle and think about, what you're going to have for lunch next Thursday. You have to focus on what's in front of you. So all of it has come together, but it took a lifetime to get there.
So amazing. And you know what I really like, meaning, and also you're speaking how there was really serendipity. I'm sure you said
Hmm.
that word correctly. That got
Serendipity,
you
yeah.
there. And it's also a
Hmm.
beautiful analogy, the juggling. But before we
It's
dig
nice, right?
deeper, I want to pick something up. You just said that you cannot chuckle and think about cooking lunch, because I'm currently reading a book about how to do good TED Talks, which should be totally in your line of work,
Yeah,
and about whether or not to learn your script. And it actually said you should get to the stage where you know your script so well that it feels so natural that you could be chuckling at the same time or cooking or whatever. So,
nice, nice.
but
Well,
that I
that's a
guess
great.
takes to the next level, right?
It does, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm a speaking coach, a speaker coach for TEDx Perth, Australia. I'm their only international speaking coach, so I coach some of the speakers for TEDx Perth, Australia. And in coaching TEDx Perth speakers, what I always tell them is, you have a choice to make. You either memorize your speech, which is a tremendous amount of work and requires that you don't just memorize the words, but you memorize the words until they happen so naturally. It's like the breath that I just took. I didn't think about it. I just took a breath. I actually just took another one. Didn't think about it, didn't plan it, just did it. So you get to the speech to that point, which is a hell of a lot of work. Or you memorize the speech's main points and you have bullet pointed it so that when you're in front of the audience, you walk on stage and you say in your head, introduction. Hi, I'm Greg Bennick. I'm going to be speaking today about juggling and cooking lunch next week. It's going to be amazing. And then you speak that initial part, you've got 30 seconds to, a minute. And then the next section is point number one, point number two, point number three, and you bullet point it. So the point is that there's a couple different approaches to take with TEDx. If people are interested in TEDx, get in touch anytime. But the other point is that sure, it is possible to quote unquote multitask, but I think the point of the book that you're reading is that it's organic. It becomes organic rather than something that you're trying to think about. Okay, this pen and my talk, and you're focusing and you can't put your focus in that many places at once effectively. So it has to become more organic and natural.
So that sounds super interesting. I incidentally applied for TEDx Geneva today. So
Nice. Congratulations.
you should become a coach and come coaches at us. I
I
mean,
like it. I
chances
might
I'll
write
get
them.
it are slim, but you got to put yourself out there and try,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
But before, let's get more into the substance. So you're a speaking coach, that by himself is amazing. But then when you are on stage, the substance you speak about, you have the juggling, but then you also have your book, the context on the book about
Mhm.
reclaiming the moment. So it's really about the here and now that you speak about.
Yeah,
So maybe,
ultimately it's about
yeah.
reminding people that they matter. It's about being focused amidst a world of distraction. I've been fascinated for years by a book called Society of the Spectacle by a guy named Guy Debord. And Debord was writing in the late 1960s. He was part of a group called the Situationist Internationale in France. And they were trying to upend society ultimately, and upend society's thinking is a better way of wording that. And Debord was talking about the spectacle that exists all around us, that the billboards, the ads, the distractions that are all around us are meant to distract us from our own lives, literally to keep us from feeling as though we are living by feeling that we are living vicariously, ultimately, through the spectacle that surrounds us. So the spectacle that's around us today is far more complex and in-depth than it was during Debord's time. And we need to think about that. we need to think about the fact that when this is online, that somebody might very well watch this video instead of getting out, breathing the air and living their lives. And we do that all the time. How many videos do we watch on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc., that prevent us in that moment from breathing fresh air, being outside, interacting with people face to face? And that isn't to say social media is bad, but rather we get swept up in the spectacle. So that is true with our work as well. We can't be working effectively. And by working effectively, I mean working with other people when we're swept up in the spectacle around us. So the book and my talks are about coming back to center, ultimately coming back to center and being present with the people who we're with, and being effective workers with the people who we're with, and effective life livers with the people who we're with, rather than getting swept up in the spectacle and having life be lived vicariously through other people.
I really love that. I've gotten really much more into mindfulness over the last few years, and I read one book by The Power of Now. Now, I don't
Mhm.
come up with the author, but one of the lines that really hammered it home for me, now is the only moment we ever have, because
Mm.
actually, yesterday is the past nows, and tomorrow is the future nows. So
Mhm.
all we have is now. And the more we distracted in the now, the less we live it. And actually,
Right.
funnily, this will not go out as a video. And for a long time, I didn't post it as a video because I didn't know how to video edit.
Oh,
But
wow.
now I know how to video edit, and I still want
Okay.
to keep it audio,
Oh,
exactly for
okay.
that reason, because I want people to listen, you know,
Great.
to have like one distraction less. And so
Nice.
just to be more focused and be more in the present moment.
I love that because, Debord's contention was that through the distractions around us in the spectacle, we see people living adventurous lives or falling in love or exploring their existence. And as a result, we don't do that for ourselves. So I would love for people to be listening to this while doing something else, doing something more engaging with their lives on their own terms. Not to say that podcasts are irrelevant. Podcasts are wonderful and I love doing them. But I also want people to be present in their world amidst a world that is increasingly complex with that spectacle.
Absolutely. And you're a keynote speaker, so you must love stories. So I can tell you a short story how I learned that the hard way quite early in my life, which really
Mhm.
helped me to pay more attention to that. So I must have been my mid-20s. I was backpacking the world and I did all the crazy stuff in New Zealand, amongst other things, skydiving, like tandem skydiving. So here I am with this crappy 25 picture camera, like the ones that
Uh-huh.
you can throw out afterwards. So once the parachute opened, I'm like, this is amazing. I want to take a picture of that moment. So I took a few pictures. Luckily, I
Okay.
only took like a handful because I wanted to capture that moment.
Mm.
And then when I looked at those pictures, of course they were crap,
Right.
because, it was just obvious they're crap. So I wasted a few of those precious seconds in free fall to take a picture that was crap. And I was like, okay, I learned that lesson. Next time I jump out of a plane, I didn't do it since, but I did other fun stuff. I'm just going to savor that short moment.
That's right.
And that's it.
That's actually a great story. And when I went skydiving, I got very lucky that there was one image taken by the instructor that turned out perfect. But the rest of the video and the photographs and everything, I seriously could have done without. Like, he wanted me to pose, right? And give a double thumbs up. And I'm like, dude, I'm falling at like 3,000 meters above the ground. Why am I giving you a double thumbs up and smiling as if we're sitting at your table drinking tea? This is ridiculous. So yeah, we have to be cognizant of the fact that in this moment we have a life to live and we have a certain number of moments. We don't know how many we have. So rather than be morbid, let's be inspired and connect more effectively and live more effectively. So ultimately, that's the message, and that's what the book is about in my keynotes as well.
That's fantastic. And I'm certainly going to check it out. I'm a bookie. So tell us a bit more for listeners. So we are all convinced now we want to be more in the present moment. We want to be less distracted. So can you give us a few sound bites around your 7 strategies you're proposing to
Sure.
people?
And they're going to sound like they don't apply to what we were just talking about, but ultimately they do. So one of the first strategies is to believe in the possibility of kindness, to escape from the trap of pessimism. And what I mean by the possibility of kindness is that the spectacle will also suggest to us that we need to be defensive, that we need to be more intense, that we need to be more aggressive with other people. And I don't think that that's necessarily true. In fact, I would suggest it's not. I think that we need to lead with the possibility that people around us might have good intentions and that we indeed might get what we want through being kind rather than being intense. I'll get what I want from this interview, which is a great conversation, not by forcing you to have a great conversation with me, but by enjoying the fact that I believe in the possibility of both of us having the best of intentions. And I think that for people in general in our society, in a world that is surrounded by war and greed and intensity and selfishness, that if we lead with that and assume that the people that we're going to interact with are that, we are going to limit our potential and limit our the potential for expansiveness. So believing in the possibility of kindness is a great first step. One of the other strategies is to leap into the dark, to embrace the possibility of success. I say leap into the dark because when we try something new, when we challenge ourselves, we don't know where that's going to end up. And oftentimes, fear of failure prevents us from acting. But fear of success does too. Like, what happens if this podcast is wildly successful? What happens if the thing I try to do later today actually works? Then what do I do? Well, I'll be in a totally new space, a space of success, ultimately, a space of achieving what I want. What'll that be like? I think psychologically we shy away from trying new things because we don't know what will happen to us, with us, and for us if we succeed. So the chapters on leap into the dark and make an attempt, do the thing, try the thing, so that you challenge yourself to see what happens if you actually succeed. I mean, if you fail, you get to try again. But what happens if you succeed? That's intimidating. So those are the types of things I write about in the book to keep people focused amidst the spectacle. And there's, as I said, 5 other chapters as well, but happy to share those 2 today for sure.
I love this. A good teaser. And I cannot agree more on the possibility of kindness.
Oh, I'm glad.
As I said, I got into mindfulness, but not what people think about, you like meditation, your new age and all of that. Actually, it's a tool also for efficiency and focus and getting
Mhm.
more into flow. And mindfulness is not just meditation, it's all the principles. And some of those
Nice.
principles is around kindness, around gratitude. So I think more and more people become more aware of this. But what I like about the 2 strategies you gave us a teaser from, they're a mix of also, like jumping into the dark is also very energetic. It's not
Mhm.
just go zen, it's a mix of calming yourself down and taking action. So can you
That's
give us
right.
just the headlines of, or just a soundbite of actually not a soundbite, just the headlines of the other 5?
Sure. Yeah. Keep your eyes on the knife to resist the allure of distraction. Keep your eyes on the knife is a juggling metaphor. If you're juggling a knife, your eyes better be on that knife. So it's a juggling metaphor. What's the most important thing that's in front of you that if it falls or fails has the most potential impact on what you want? Another one is cultivate a revolutionary mindset to overcome the deception of defeat. We oftentimes don't give ourselves enough credit for our own potential as thinkers and creative livers of life, for lack of a better word. So cultivating a revolutionary mindset, cultivating a mindset that the rules can be bent, the rules can be malleable, so that we can achieve the things we want. Because otherwise, we end up falling in line in our own minds. There's one called engage with laughter to connect amidst the weight of the world. The world can often be heavy, and literally laughing with our colleagues can go a long way to consolidating teams and inspiring us to be more effective in what we do throughout the day. And then develop relationships that matter to outsmart the dread of isolation. Humans are isolated creatures. We are insecure, frightened creatures. And when we connect with other people, it's a way to overcome that. It's a way to get through an existence which is pretty intense. I mean, 100 years from now, you and I aren't going to be here. That's overwhelming and intimidating. So, with that in mind, how do we manage that? And developing relationships that matter is a way through. And then finally, there's a whole chapter on something called start a reverberation effect to build a better now. And the reverberation effect, imagine the ripple effect, right? Where a stone drops into a pond. Well, the ripples dissipate by the edge of the pond. The reverberation effect is a whole chapter on the idea that we can reverberate and keep ideas and inspiration going, not just dissipating by the end of the pond, but keep that inspiration going and keep that idea reverberating so that it continues, so that it develops, that it grows, shifts position, changes direction, and we get more people involved with an idea rather than just having it be our drop in the bucket, our ripple to the edge of the pond. So the reverberation effect is about reverberating with ideas, and I think it's a pretty neat idea the way I presented it in the book. So those are the 7 chapters, and in there there's also stories throughout from my life and lessons that I've learned that got me to those places.
I really like how you framed those chapters. And I like this idea of the reverberation, how you say
Yep,
it,
reverberation.
effect.
Yeah,
Because I've been thinking about the ripple effect, and that's already cool if you can ripple an idea out. But
yeah.
if you can even make it bigger and make it better when it comes back, that's
That's
really
the
powerful.
reverberation idea. Yeah, that's the idea, right? If we become better listeners, better teammates, more focused, less absorbed in the spectacle, if we're present for and with one another, if we remind ourselves that we matter and that the work we do is meaningful, we get to then be present so that if you suggest an idea to me, I'm ready to reverberate and have that idea grow within me and share that idea outwards so it continues on.
That's amazing. And I've certainly include the book reference into the show notes
Please.
for people that are interested now. I am certainly. So oh, I had something else I wanted to ask you just now about. Yes, of course. So listeners now might be hooked and overwhelmed because you just gave us 7 amazing strategies that are very condensed. So if there's 1 or 2 small things listeners could start doing tomorrow, what would you challenge them to start doing?
Yeah, the first thing I would do is lead with the possibility of kindness. Approach the day and approach interactions with that. Try that. See what happens. See what happens when you approach it the possibility of kindness. Will you run into people who are mean? Yep, you will. Will you run into people who are mean who actually are just waiting for an opportunity to practice their own kindness? Yes. So I would say lead with the possibility of kindness and see where it leads. But also, every once in a while, shut off your phone, shut off your iPad, shut off your computer, your laptop, all of it, and interact first and foremost with yourself. And then, secondly, with the world. Go for a walk or sit and read a book or sit and contemplate what it is that you want to be doing and make sure that your focus is sound without your focus being influenced by all of the videos and the distractions that we see electronically these days. And that again isn't to say that social media is bad, but every once in a while when we shut off the glowing rectangle in front of us and instead get out in the world or connect with somebody or even you can call somebody and have an excellent conversation, get back to that for a moment every once in a while. It'll be very, very effective for you.
So that really resonates. And it makes me think that, so I have an 8-year-old son who,
Mhm.
complains when he's bored. It's like, oh, what do I do now? And we keep on telling him, like, just sit on the sofa and be bored.
Uh-huh.
It's actually a
Yes.
skill to be bored. And of course, he's
Yeah.
not excited about that tip. So your work is also, I mean, primarily, I assume, but maybe I'm wrong, focused on adults and also for workplaces. But do you also have, I mean, some tips for parents for their teenage kids? Or I
Yeah.
mean, switch off the social media, I mean, that's an obvious one, but are there anything
Yeah.
specific that you see working for teenagers or younger kids?
Absolutely. There's a whole section in my book where I talk about the presentations I give to students. I do those all across the United States all the time. In between, the corporate and association keynotes and whatnot, there's sometimes downtime, and in that downtime, that's where I'm speaking to students across the United States. And one of the things that I tell teens is believe in the thing that you enjoy. Believe in the thing that you like. And I use the example of the juggling for me. When I was 12 years old, as I told you, I accidentally learned how to juggle. It changed my entire life. I stuck with it, even though it wasn't the coolest thing. It wasn't me becoming a professional sports player. It wasn't me becoming a model or an actor. It was me juggling. It was very isolating, or could have been. I could have just practiced it on my own, but instead I decided to practice it and practice it and practice it and then share it with other people. So what I tell teens is, what's the thing that you enjoy? Just what do you like to do? What do you like to do? Oh, you like gymnastics? Oh, you like mathematics? Oh, you like computer programming? Oh, you like climbing trees? Oh, you like race cars? Whatever it is, practice it more often. Believe in the idea that it might lead somewhere, but more importantly, enjoy it for what it is. And then from there, let it expand and grow and see where it leads you, because that's in your control. The juggling could have been something that just ended at age 12, but instead I pursued it and pursued it and pursued it and pursued it to the point where I was able to perform with it, travel the world with it. So for a young person, I say, oh, you like drawing? Keep drawing. Do it all the time. Oh, you like painting? Oh, you like gymnastics? Stick with it and go with it because you don't know where it's going to lead you. But if you stop practicing because it's not cool, or you think that other people won't enjoy it, or you're not sure where it's going to lead, well, you're right. It won't lead anywhere. But practice it. Go for it and see where it leads.
And I think that's so important. Stick to the hard thing because I see attention span getting much shorter with all the social
Yes.
media and all that stuff. So
Absolutely.
actually to just stick with it. And I think this is actually amazing advice also for people in midlife. So I've been more and more working with people in midlife. And I feel like there's an awakening to those old dreams where people go like, okay, fine, I climbed the ladder high enough. I'm done climbing, but what do I want to do now? And then it's a powerful moment to go back to, okay, what is
Yes.
it actually I'm loving? And who knows, maybe I can create something new in that space.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important to pursue the thing that you like to do. It sounds so basic, but especially for teens who think, "Oh, the thing I like to do isn't really cool. No one's going to appreciate it." Doesn't matter. Stick with it. It's a lesson in self-reliance. It's a lesson in self-confidence. It's a lesson in motivation. But more importantly, it's a lesson in doing what you like, which at the end of the day, I think is an important component to life that gets lost in the spectacle because when we see other people doing things that are supposedly cool, we lose sight of the thing that we want to do that is actually cool to us.
And yeah, not just to us, but because often I see teenagers, kids try to fit in so badly, but what makes them actually interesting later is exactly the bit that wasn't fitting in.
That's exactly right. It's the differentiator. It's the thing that all of a sudden the coin collecting juggler is an interesting person because of two things that weren't very interesting to other people early on. It's like all of a sudden that becomes the differentiator.
Yeah. Do you juggle with coins?
I do not. I want to keep coins in perfect, excellent, amazing condition and not drop them on the ground.
This is amazing, Craig. So before we move to the quick fire burst question, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience in terms of tips?
Yeah.
There will be a moment to wrap up later, but just in terms of practical stuff, anything we haven't touched on yet.
Yeah, I think that the idea of being a good teammate is important. And that's not just me talking about team building, but rather quite literally, being a better listener is really important. And getting out of our head enough to be present with the people around us is really important. So be present, be a better listener, be a better communicator, be a better connector. Pay attention when somebody is speaking with you, to you, around you. Just be aware of other people because that's a way of reminding people that they matter too, is by being present for them. And I think it goes a long way in terms of creating better teams. And by teams, sure, we could take that as, oh, corporate teams, association teams. But I mean more just like a better teammate in life. Like just to be a better teammate for the people around you. And let's all get through life in ways that make us feel better and uplift us. And we can do that by supporting one another, by being present for one another. So try that. I think that's a good skill to start with.
Absolutely. Try that. Everybody who heard this out there, try it. And I'll try that too. Cool. So let's move to the quick fire burst questions. It's
Great.
pretty simple game. I have 7 questions for you, and the challenge is to answer with one word.
Okay.
I mean, one thought, but like really as concise as possible.
Okay.
Ready to go?
Ready.
So, one belief you had to drop to live your way.
Self-doubt.
A place that cracked something open in you.
Thailand. I went on a scuba diving trip for 10 days, and being underwater for 10 days was pretty extraordinary.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine. One thing you had to unlearn.
I would say it's has been essential for me to unlearn the voice, listening to the voice in my head, which otherwise would have me be still or not achieving the things that I want to try.
Yeah, the voice of doubt and all that. Yeah, it's so important. What is your non negotiable right now?
I would say authenticity. Authenticity is a non-negotiable. Authenticity is how we drive forward in life in the best way possible.
And I think that's particularly important when you speak on stage, right? Because people want to have
Absolutely.
real people.
Essential.
Yeah.
Absolutely essential.
What is the boldest risk that you took and that paid off?
Oh, I would say the boldest risk I took is not having a day job per se and working for myself on my own terms. It has most definitely opened my mind up to possibilities in ways that I would not simply have had otherwise.
You've always done that?
Always, my entire life.
Wow, amazing.
Yep.
One word for your leadership or your life in this chapter.
I would say kindness. Believe in the possibility of kindness, but if it's just in one word, kindness, essential.
And what is the ripple? What is the reverberation you hope your story creates?
I would love for people just to live more effectively. And, I could say inspired, motivated, not that. Live more effectively. We have very limited time. Let's do the best we possibly can.
So effectively, what is effectively? It's say a bit more about what is effectively for you. It's not just getting
Sure.
stuff done, but it's also the now. It's a mix, right?
Have better relationships, have better connections, have better, all of it, better listening, better connections, better kissing, better meals shared, better nights out with friends, better, accomplishments, all of the above. Let's just live more effectively rather than live in ways which keep us at arm's length from life. We don't have a lot of time, so let's engage. Let's engage with life so that we live more effectively. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks so much for playing along. That was fun. That was actually
Absolutely.
really good. It's not easy to bottom line an idea.
For sure.
So as we wrap this up, is there anything else you'd like to share? Where can people find you if they're curious?
Sure.
Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, people can find me at gregbennick.com, GregBennick.com. You can find me on LinkedIn as well and Instagram, same name, Greg Bennick. And I invite people to get in touch. Of course, there's information on there about keynotes and coaching and all those things. But I would just love to hear from anybody who listens to this podcast. It'd be really wonderful. I'd love to hear your story anytime.
Thank you very much. And thanks for coming
Thank
to the
you.
show. This was
Of
a real
course.
pleasure.
I'm so glad we did this. It's been great. And thanks to all your listeners for taking the time to engage with us and listen to us today.
Wonderful. So thanks for now, and well, have a great day. Bye. That's it for today. If this stirred something in you, don't just sit on it. Do something, anything, today, right now. Take one small intentional step toward more freedom, flow, and fun. And see where the ride takes you. If this hit home, follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a review. That's how we ripple this energy further. Want to go deeper? Head over to mindset/mastery.ch for coaching, tools, and next steps. Until next time, trust your gut, stay curious, and keep playing by your rules. Bye for now.